Welcome back to our accounting session and our example question, Pam Lam and Tien. In our previous video, what we looked at doing, what we did was to record the purchase consideration or purchase price that Apex Limited was paying for the partnership. We also recorded the gain on realization for the partners by debiting the realization account and crediting the partner's capital account. And we also looked at paying off the loan that was that Pam had lent the partnership of $50,000 by debiting the loan account and crediting back. And we said in the previous video that when we come back, we are going to look at recording the shares that were issued to the partners in order to settle this $360,000 that Apex was paying for the partnership. And to do that, because we want to close the partners' capital accounts, what we will be doing is that we will debit the partners' capital account for the shares that are being issued, which are ordinary share capital, preference share capital, and there will also be a share premium. So we will debit the partner's capital account for those values, and the credit will go to Apex Limited ordinary share capital account, preference share capital account, and their share premium account. So let's look at calculating these for these ordinary shares. So let's go back to our question. The question states, how are we going to settle this $360,000? In order to settle this $360,000 as purchase consideration, Apex Limited is going to issue 60,000 ordinary shares at par. That's the first thing. So let's calculate the value of this 60,000 ordinary shares. So let's go to the calculations. So to calculate that, it is 60, the issued shares were 62,000 ordinary shares. So 62,000 shares multiplied by the par value of those shares. And the question stated that the par value was $5 each, as this is the par. So it's multiplied by $5. So let's do this on our calculator. 62,000 shares times $5, $310,000. So the value of our ordinary share capital is $310,000. But this ordinary share capital of $310,000 must be shared between among Pam, Lam, and Tien. And this will be shared in their profit sharing ratio. Remember the profit sharing ratio. So profit sharing ratio for the partners would be 4:3:3. So we're going to share this $310,000 in their profit sharing ratio. So first of all, $310,000 times 4 on 10. $310,000 times 3 on 10, and $310,000 times 3 on 10. So let's see what these figures are. $310,000, $124,000 for Pam, so that's her share capital. For Lam is $93,000. And since Tien is the same ratio as Lam, that will also be $93,000. So we said the accounting entry to record this ordinary share capital will be to debit the partner's capital account, because we want to close the capital account. For $124,000 for Pam and $93,000 for Lam and $93,000 for Tien. So that's our ordinary share capital. So now let's look at the calculation for our preference share capital. So calculation the shares that were issued for our preference share capital, according to the question, they settled 30,000 5% preference shares. So 30,000 5% preference shares. And they didn't tell us how these were issued, but we know for sure that the par for the 30,000 is $1. So let's calculate the preference share capital of $30,000 first. So let's look at that. So 30,000 shares at par, which is $1, equals $30,000. Now this $30,000 must be shared. This must be shared among the partners according to their last agreed capital balances, the ratio of their last agreed capital balances. So let's look at what that ratio would be. So we need to look at what their capitals were previously, and the capital for Pam is 128,000, Lam 120,000, and Tien 72,000. So this is their ratio, 128,000 to 120,000 to 72,000. So if we drop the last three zeros, it will be 128 to 120 to 72. So let's go for that ratio. So that capital balances ratio for the partners would then be 128 to 120 to 72. And if we add those figures together, we get a total of $320,000. 320 is the total. And if you put behind the zeros, obviously $320,000. So we are going to share this $30,000 in the ratio for Pam. So let's look at it. So Pam would be $30,000 times 128 divided by 320. Lamb will be the same, $30,000 times 120 divided by 320. And Tien will be $30,000 times 72 divided by 320. So it's being equitable because we're using the ratio. We're not guessing. We are just using what is given to us. So let's calculate here again. Let's move this here. Right. So we go across. 128 divided by 320 multiplied by $30,000. So that's $12,000 for Pam in preference shares, preference share capital. Lamb would be 120 divided by 320 times $30,000, which is $11,250 for lamb, $11,250, and for Tien is 72 divided by 320 multiplied by $30,000, which is $6,750 for Tien. So now what we're going to do, we are going to put these in the capital account by debiting the capital. Remember, we want to close the capital account for the partners. So we're going to debit the capital account with this preference share capital and credit the preference share capital in Apex Limited books. Okay, so let's go back. Preference share. So for missing a zero from here, sorry about that. So we miss that zero. So for Pam, that is $12,000 we calculated just now, debit. For lamb, $11,250 debit, and for Tien, $6,750. So that is the ordinary share capital and the preference share capital. However, if we look at the purchase consideration was $360,000. This was the purchase price, and they issued these shares, $62,310,000 for these, and the orders ordinary shares, and the preference shares is only $30,000. And if we take this $310,000 and this $30,000 and we add these together, we will only get $340,000 as our share capital, but yet they settled the $360,000 by the shares. So this means that we have some value of shares outstanding. So let's look at that. So let's look at this. So this will be our share premium. So our share premium, how do we work that out? Our share premium, so we have ordinary share capital of $310,000 and preference share capital of $30,000 so far. So when we add these together, this gives us total share capital of $340,000. Right? So then in our next video, what we will do, we will work out the